Hi, everybody. Happy first day of Black History Month. Happy New Year. I was thinking this morning about an experience I had as a kid, and I'm going to share it because I like sharing. When I was a little girl, I used to watch my parents read the paper, particularly my father, because he always made it a point on his off days he was going to read newsprint. At the time, it was the Post. We had two papers in Houston at that time. But this particular day, he and my mother were laughing, and the subject of sundown towns, one in particular, Alvin, Texas, came up. Well, at the time, they were discussing the fact that at one time, Alvin, Texas had a sign that said, "Inward, read and run. If you cannot read, run anyhow." When I heard that as a little girl, my little 5 or 4-year-old brain could not fathom how you could have a sign that gave you a warning, but unless you could read the sign, you didn't know what to do. So I said, "Well, Daddy, that's not fair. How does that make sense? If you can't read, how do you know to run?" He put his paper down and said, "That's why you have to always know how to read and read well." So I asked the question again. I said, "Daddy, that makes no sense. That's not fair." He said, "You're absolutely right. It's not fair to have to be out of town when the sun comes down, but if you could read, you would know not to be there." My parents always had a way of presenting Jim Crow in a way that would pivot away from the horror and move you toward action. What they were telling me is that education is important. At the very least, you must be literate. No ifs, ands, or buts. I took that lesson and I became a reading fool. I read everything: comic books, stories they bought me, billboards. It didn't matter. I'm not sure if it was fear or admiration for my parents, but bottom line, I could read. I could read well. So when I got to elementary school, I was always in the first reading group from first grade on through sixth grade at GBM Turner. What's the point? Well, the point is, I am grateful, not for that sign, but for how my parents used it to motivate me, to motivate all three of us. There are certain things you can change, but some things you can't. So the only thing you can do is make sure you have the tools. And education is a tool. Now, what I was later to find out, thanks to something that my aunt presented to me, is how important reading was to my dad and obviously to his parents also. I'm going to flip the camera around so you can see. Well, let me do this. This is a certificate from the Houston Public Library dated 1928, and it is a Vacation Reading Club certificate for Willie L. Smith. It's reversed, but you can kind of make sense of it. Apparently, reading was something that was important to him also. He was born in 1917 and he was 11 years old when this was presented to him. I'm not even sure if the Houston Public Library still has a vacation reading club, but I know that education was something that was important to my parents, and this was their way of passing that on to me. That's my little known Black history fact, but I think it's really important that we embrace the gratitude that our parents, not having been able to do many, many things what they imparted to their children. The importance of an education, the importance of being literate. Can't change everything, but you can arm yourself with the right tools. Reading is fundamental. Happy Black History Month. Take care, guys. Have a good day.